Well, hello there, tech enthusiasts. Ready for another deep dive into the latest tech news? This week, we've got a real humdinger. You sent in some seriously juicy articles about Google, Apple, and OpenAI. And trust me, things are heating up, so let's jump right in.
Yeah, it's like watching a tech thriller unfold in real time. We've got legal battles brewing, strategic shifts that could reshape the industry, and of course, the ever-present AI revolution. It's a lot to unpack.
It really is. And speaking of unpacking, let's start with Google. They seem to be facing the heat from multiple directions this week.
Absolutely. The big news is that a U.S. judge has ordered Google to make some major changes to how they run their Android app store.
Oh yeah, I read about that. This could have huge implications,
Yep.
right?
It could completely shake things up. Basically, the court is saying Google has to open up its app store to competitors, which means allowing users to download apps from other places besides the Google Play Store.
So it's kind of like if suddenly you could buy books from any publisher on Amazon.
Exactly. It levels the playing field and gives app developers more control over how they distribute and price their products. It's a big win for competition and potentially for users too.
I can see why Google's not exactly thrilled about this.
Oh, they're fighting back. They've already filed an appeal, and this whole thing could drag on in court for years. This case actually mirrors a previous lawsuit from Epic Games, the company behind Fortnite. They raised similar concerns about Google's control over its app ecosystem.
Right, and that whole antitrust issue has been swirling around big tech for a while now.
Exactly. It all boils down to whether these tech giants have become too dominant, stifling innovation and harming consumers. The courts are now stepping in to decide if companies like Google need to be reined in a bit.
It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out, but in the meantime, Google's also making some intriguing moves on a different front. They're leasing a massive new building in North Texas.
Yes, the Texas two-step, 1,000,000 square feet, if I recall. That's a lot of space, even for Google.
It is. And it seems to signal a shift away from Silicon Valley. So what's the deal with this move? Is Google just looking for cheaper rent?
Well, it's a bit more nuanced than that. While cost is definitely a factor, it's also about tapping into new talent pools and diversifying their operations. Silicon Valley is becoming increasingly expensive and competitive, so it makes sense for companies like Google to look elsewhere for growth.
So it's like a strategic chess move. They're anticipating future needs and making sure they're well-positioned for the long haul.
Exactly. And it's not just about space, it's about sending a message. Google's expansion into Texas could be a way to attract top talent in fields like energy, aerospace, and even healthcare, all of which have a strong presence in that region.
So while they're battling it out in court over their app store, they're also quietly building their empire in new territories. Fascinating stuff.
It really is. And it speaks to the adaptability and ambition of these tech giants. They're constantly evolving, responding to challenges, and searching for the next big thing.
It makes you wonder what they'll set their sights on next.
Well, speaking of setting sights, it seems Apple's got its eyes firmly fixed on the AI horizon.
Ah, yes. Apple and AI. Always an interesting topic. They've been rather quiet on that front, haven't they? At least compared to some of the other big players.
True, they tend to be more measured, more deliberate in their approach, but that doesn't mean they're not making significant strides.
And the rumors about these new AI features coming to the iPhone 16, well, certainly has people talking.
It does make you wonder what they've been cooking up behind those closed doors. Remember, Apple's not usually one to jump on the bandwagon. They prefer to wait, observe, and then, when the time is right, they unleash something polished and powerful.
Like a finely tuned machine.
Exactly. They're all about creating seamless, integrated experiences. So when they do go all in on AI, it's bound to be something special, something that just works effortlessly and intuitively.
And let's not forget about that intriguing little tidbit with the M4 MacBook Pro leaking ahead of schedule.
Oh, you mean how a YouTuber managed to get his hands on one before Apple even officially announced it? Yeah, that was a fascinating turn of events. And you know what? It might just hold a clue to Apple's AI strategy.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, one of the standout features of the new M4 chip is its incredible power efficiency. It delivers a major performance boost while using less energy. And guess what? That's particularly important for AI applications, which tend to be quite power hungry.
So a more efficient chip means they can pack in more AI capabilities without sacrificing battery life.
Precisely. It's all about striking that delicate balance between power and efficiency, and that's something Apple excels at.
It reminds me of when voice assistants first hit the scene. Siri might have been a late bloomer, but Apple integrated it so seamlessly into their ecosystem that it quickly became an indispensable part of the Apple experience.
That's a great analogy. They might not always be the first movers, but they understand the importance of user experience, of making technology invisible and intuitive. And I think we'll see that same philosophy applied to their AI endeavors.
It'll be fascinating to see how it all unfolds. And speaking of fascinating journeys, we can't forget about OpenAI. They've gone from a relatively unknown nonprofit research lab to a major force in the tech world in just a few short years.
It's been quite the transformation, hasn't it? And their recent move to become a for-profit company, along with their deepening partnership with Microsoft, that's certainly shaken things up.
Yeah, it sparked a lot of debate about the direction of AI development and whether profit and progress can truly coexist. It's a tough one, right? On the one hand, you've got the potential for groundbreaking advancements, but on the other hand, there's this underlying concern about, well, what if the pursuit of profit overshadows everything else?
It's a valid concern, absolutely. OpenAI's initial mission was all about democratizing AI, making sure it benefits all of humanity, not just a select few.
Right, and that's a noble goal, for
Yeah.
sure. But now, with this shift towards a for-profit model, some people worry that those idealistic principles might fall by the wayside.
Yeah, there's a fear that they might prioritize applications that generate revenue, even if they're not necessarily the most beneficial for society as a whole. It's like that old saying, money makes the world go round. But in this case, we're talking about something far more powerful than money. We're talking about the future of intelligence itself.
And that's a lot of responsibility for any one company to shoulder.
No doubt about it. And it raises some fundamental questions about how we want to develop and govern AI moving forward. Do we want it to be driven primarily by market forces, or should ethical considerations take precedence? These are questions that we as a society need to grapple with.
Absolutely. And it's not just about OpenAI, right? This whole situation speaks to a larger debate about the role of big tech in our lives and how much power we're willing to entrust to these companies.
Precisely. It's a debate with no easy answers. But one thing's for sure. The decisions these companies make today will have far-reaching consequences for all of us. So it's more important than ever to stay informed, to ask tough questions, and to make our voices heard.
Couldn't agree more. Well, folks, there you have it. We've explored Google's legal battles, Apple's AI aspirations, and OpenAI's controversial transformation. And through it all, one thing has become abundantly clear. The world of tech is anything but boring.
Anything but. It's a constantly evolving landscape full of innovation, disruption, and yes, even a little bit of drama.
And that's what makes it so fascinating to watch, right? As always, we encourage you to keep digging deeper, to explore these topics further, and to form your own opinions, because ultimately the future of technology is up to all of us to shape.
Well said.
Thank you for joining us on this thrilling deep dive into the heart of the tech world. Until next time, stay curious.